This is the Audi e-tron GT, the first full electric sports vehicle by Audi on a platform that is shared together with the Porsche Taycan, the first all-electric Porsche sports vehicle from series production. We will take a look at here an exterior and interior. This one here, they say, is about 90% of the series production model, so pretty close already to what it really is. Let's see. You see, from a basic form, it could also be relating to an Audi A7, but as I said, it is on an all-new platform that is really laid out for the all-electric vehicles. Here in the front, you can see there's a closed front grille. In the top right there, because you do not need so much cooling for the electric vehicles. They still use a long hood, even though it would not be necessary for the electric motors. But here they mainly use it for aesthetics and also for storage. The headlamps, LED matrix lights, also in a horizontal scheme with a dramatic daytime running signature. I think a very beautiful car that also has this approach that Tesla went for, that electric cars don't have to be, like just environmental friendly or so, or just to be logic, that they can also be a lot of fun and really sporty because they have a lower center of gravity and have some great sporty performance. We'll soon talk about those figures. The length is 4.96 meters, 16'3" or 195 inches. And if you, for example, compare it to an Audi A7, you see that the roofline is even flatter. So it's a very, very flat design here, together with dramatic 22-inch wheels. Well, so far, you sometimes said, oh, it's a concept vehicle, it has bigger wheels. But nowadays, the wheel size, even for small cars, have become so large that this is really realistic that this car will come also with 22-inch wheels. Also interesting how they are fixed right there, very beautiful work. And again, such a sculptural form right there with a very flat window line. You won't have the best visibility from the inside, that's clear already right now. But this one is also a design object. This is not a logical car, so to say. And as I said earlier, the batteries are placed in the floor right there between the long wheelbase. That puts the center of gravity very low. And you also have an all-wheel drive, an electric all-wheel drive, two motors, one front, one in the rear, to give you the best performance there. Soon coming to those details. The doors, by the way, we'll soon also take a look at the interior. There are no door handles right there. It's better for aerodynamics. The series production model will, however, have door handles, and I think that's a good decision because it just makes life easier. Here, in this case, you press on this side button here, for example, and then you can open the doors. But again, it's a little bit complicated, so I usually just prefer to have normal door handles. And now facts and figures. 590 horsepower from those two electric motors. Electric all-wheel drive, as I said. The battery size, 96 kilowatt hours. Supposed to have a range of 430 kilometers or 270 miles. So it's more trimmed to this performance output. 3.5 seconds acceleration, 0 to 100 or 0 to 62 miles an hour. And the 0 to 200 kilometers or 125 miles is around 12 seconds. Yeah, 12 seconds is usually 0 to 100 figure. So really impressive here. And you can get indeed all the power to the ground due to this electric all-wheel drive. It works quite well. We've tested it with the Audi e-tron, with the SUV. Also in off-road situations, because it's really adapting immediately to each of the situations. A very dramatic design for the rear. We know also this going through light stripe already from the existing combustion engine models and also from the e-tron SUV. This is carried out all over here. Porsche also does that meanwhile. Here just a little bit more dramatic in the light and signature. Also with the diffuser in the lower end. And I really like this detail here, this e-tron badge, which is also subtle, illuminated in a very subtle way right there. Also this very, very flat rear window, and this one will be also a retractable wing. So what do you think from design? Would you buy this vehicle? And this will be my favorite part of the interior. Well, first of all, I will now show you, because the car is now unlocked, like there. You hold it, this button right there, and then the door basically pops up. But again, will be different with the series production vehicle. Then, this car here does not have any animal skin parts. This one is a leatherette. And they also use recycling materials. This one is a grey fabric. It has this Scandinavian living room style. Very sculptural, very beautiful and cozy. And the same also counts for the rest of the interior. You can see here there is a microfiber steering wheel for a good grip also. and you can use it winter and summer times. It stays at the same temperature, so to say. And those beautifully done seats here, look at that. Also with the gray fabric down there at the seats. You can see it in this, in the lower and in the upper area. The whole interior is covered in this bright and gray surface. It really makes a bright living room effect. I just love it when looking at it. And this fabric here, it feels durable, it feels cozy. I think it's an excellent choice. Indeed, this interior is all vegan, you can really say that. And finally, Audi gets that for their future vehicles. So far, they have been using animal skin in the masses, which is not sustainable and also supports financially the animal mass industry. But they are actually quitting that right now with this interior. Really great. Let's take a seating in it. This will also be very interesting. Now let's get inside. And well, one of the reasons Audi finally go for a sustainable solution now, since they also build more and more electric vehicles, they're more interested in sustainability. The whole Volkswagen group, they say they want to have CO2 neutral cars also in the production process. And then, of course, if they make some, evening out measures for that, the less they, use CO2. For example, we already calculate that with Continental, so, one of the big automotive suppliers. If you use fabric, or even fabric seats, even better as for sustainability. But if you even use leatherette against the animal skin, it's half of the CO2 consumption, leaving aside the animal ethics part. And fabric even more sustainable. And in the long-term run, we hope that it will be also plant-based to make a full ecologic cycle. But this one here always is a massive step forward. I really like to see that Audi is finally taking this future step. Well, it is indeed very cozy. It is somehow a sports vehicle, yes, and you sit very low. But for that, actually, the seats make a very good and cozy impression. They have a lot of shoulder support right there. But it's not one of those sports cars where you sit down and I get lower back pain or something. So it feels quite comfortable. You don't have the best overview. Yeah, we've seen it on the exterior clearly. So you will need a lot of assistance systems to keep, track of everything going around you. But it's a very interesting seating position. It's definitely way sportier than you would be sitting in an Audi A7 or so. So this one is really more a sports car than a GT, although it's called GT. It is a big car, so not a small sports car, but definitely has this very sporty approach. Well, it is super flat also, but when I have the seat in the lowest position, me with 1.86 m or 6'1", still leaves some headroom right there. This is an inbuilt panoramic roof. You cannot open it. Well, it is open by itself, basically. I expect the series production model to have also a sunshade in it, when it's really hot or so. And really good grip handle here with the steering wheel. Maybe it could even be a little bit smaller than for a sports model or so. But definitely a very interesting approach. I just love this interior here from the whole styling. What about you? Interior overview, you can see they have those floating elements, for example, for the central screen. Right there, as in demo, is in show mode, but you can see this has this ebb view. Then this, copper style, it's a bright copper style, I'm not sure if you could call that way, and the separate climate unit. And in the lower part, again, this is all in demo mode from the concept vehicle, but it's, not unrealistic that it will actually look like this. The gear selector here also in the lower part, this one will be just, for touch, for example, to put in the gears. Maybe you can also slide it back or forward. Let's see how that one plays out, but definitely very interesting. And if we take a look at here again for the steering wheel, if that one will come in that way, well, it will have a flat bottom, that's sure. And also this crystal work is very interesting for the shifting levers. And of course, we will just see digital instruments as we see it right here. Wow, is it so hot here on the motor show? 24 degrees? Well, it could be with all those spots and lights. Well, it is kept rather simplistic. You hardly see any button. That's definitely where this direction is going. Also, the interior and the rear, you can see this has a single seat set up in the same living room design. By the way, those floor mats that are also fitting as for the color, the floor mats are done from old fisher nets. Also very interesting as for the recycling idea. Well, and the question, it's such a flat car. Can I also sit here in the rear? Because from the exterior, the car looks really long, but other than that, it doesn't look that big. And also, package-wise, well, it's not the first impression that I would have a long journey in here. But considering, I mean, I do fit in here even when I sit in the front. Headroom-wise also does directly fit, so it's still somewhat okay. We know that those sports cars or GTs are not thought out to have a great package. But then again, I mean, it's an electric vehicle, so you don't have, for example, like the standard elements you would have with a combustion engine car. So this is actually a better package in this electric setup than with the combustion engine GT. But then again, of course, if you want a family SUV, then don't go for the e-tron GT, just go for the e-tron SUV. But definitely interesting to have this setup here also with the sporty elements in the seats. I think the rear here maybe will come a little bit different in this series production model. But again, this is one of the very rare GT cars you can actually use with 4 tall adults still. Unfortunately, the trunk areas are off limits here at the moment with the show car. But I can already tell you it's 150 liters capacity in the front and 450 liters in the rear. And that is, considering, for such a vehicle, actually quite spacious. We'll also then take a look at the series production model, how that one turns out. In the front, for example, you will be storing the charging cables for sure. Then at the rear, you can have all the space then for your luggage and don't have any cable flying around. So this split is maybe an intelligent solution. And now to our conclusion for today with the Audi e-tron GT. Today still as a final concept, but we will soon show you the series production model. But again, as I said, it comes already quite close, especially on the exterior. On the interior, of course, we've seen some blind buttons and so on. They will be in function, of course, later in the series production model. Well, it's surely a beautiful car, a very beautiful car. It's all electric, so it has a lot of performance, and it shows this car will be more performant than one of the ICE cars from Audi with the classic combustion engines. So this will probably also convince a lot of people to go electric because just to have some more performance. There's always the question for the infrastructure. That would be, I think, my first interest, to have the good loading or charging infrastructure. This one will be both over with AC and DC charging with the same standards they also have with the e-tron SUV. Let's see how that one plays out. Core thing of this model is definitely the interior. Audi is finally going all sustainable on the interior. A very good decision. Looking forward to the future. We can see, I think it works when it's more sustainable and better for the customer at the same time. Because if you just do something more sustainable, people say, maybe it's nice to have, but what's my benefit and so on. But at the same time, this one, it looks better, it looks bright. It has better climate comfort in summer and winter, and it just feels like a cozy living room. It offers more comfort while driving. So when something is better as for the functionality and more sustainable, I think that is in the case that it really works. So what do you think about the Audi e-tron GT? Please leave me your comments right there. Let's discuss this vehicle, and of course, we'll keep you all updated with the further development.